Most people believe power is taken by force, yet they never notice how easily they hand it over through ordinary, careless words spoken without awareness. Every sentence you release into the world carries information about your inner state, and human minds are trained to read that information instinctively. Long before logic, language evolved as a survival signal, revealing confidence, fear, submission, or dominance in subtle, nearly invisible ways. When you speak too much, you are not clarifying truth. You are broadcasting uncertainty to anyone patient enough to listen closely. Over-explaining is rarely about being helpful, but about calming your own anxiety by seeking permission to exist without resistance. The moment you justify yourself unnecessarily, you reposition the listener as a silent judge and yourself as someone awaiting approval. Apologizing without reason operates in the same way, quietly lowering your status while inviting others to define your worth. Each unnecessary apology trains people to expect concessions, because your language has already framed you as responsible for their comfort. Seeking validation through phrases like, "I think," or maybe softens your presence and suggests that your words require external confirmation. In power dynamics, uncertainty is contagious, and those who sense it will either exploit it or withdraw respect without explanation. Careless emotional disclosure feels honest, but often functions as an unconscious surrender of psychological leverage. When you reveal inner turbulence too early, you give others a map of your pressure points before trust has been earned. Manipulators do not create weakness. They simply notice where language exposes it and apply pressure accordingly. Weak framing appears polite, yet it subtly hands control of the interaction to whoever is willing to define the narrative. Saying, "if that's okay," after a clear boundary transforms certainty into a negotiable suggestion. Reactive speech is the most expensive mistake, because it allows emotion to dictate timing, tone, and direction. Whoever controls the pace of a conversation usually controls its outcome, even when they say very little. Silence unsettles because it removes predictable feedback loops that most people rely on for emotional safety. Interaction forces others to confront their own assumptions instead of leaning on your reassurance. Detachment is not indifference, but the disciplined refusal to let external behavior rewrite your internal position. Those who remain calm during tension are often mistaken for being passive, until outcomes quietly aligned in their favor. Power operates beneath manners and rules, moving through perception rather than overt confrontation. Social conditioning teaches people to fill silence, smooth tension, and explain themselves before being asked. These habits create compliance long before authority is ever asserted. Manipulators understand that people fear uncertainty more than control, and they design interactions to amplify that fear. By withholding validation, they encourage oversharing, over-explaining, and emotional leakage. The more someone speaks to regain balance, the more imbalance they reveal. Language becomes a mirror, reflecting internal hierarchy rather than external truth. Strong communicators do not rush to be understood, because urgency itself signals dependency. They allow misunderstanding to exist temporarily, knowing clarity gained too cheaply costs influence. Reframing is a quiet weapon, shifting meaning without resistance or overt challenge. When you choose precise words and fewer of them, attention sharpens and assumptions weaken. Emotional restraint is not suppression, but the deliberate storage of energy for moments that matter. Those who speak from restraint shape environments, while those who speak from impulse are shaped by them. Inner authority is sensed before it is proven, communicated through pace, stillness, and absence of excess. People submit unconsciously to those who appear self-contained and unmoved by approval or rejection. This is why silence often feels heavier than argument. The mind fills gaps with imagined power, usually overestimating the one who remains quiet. Awareness begins when you notice how often your words are attempts to manage perception rather than convey necessity. True control starts by allowing discomfort to exist without rushing to escape it verbally. Shadow acceptance means recognizing the desire to dominate, submit, or be seen, without letting it speak for you. Emotional sovereignty is the ability to feel deeply while revealing selectively. When you master timing, you reclaim leverage without aggression. Restraint transforms communication into strategy rather than confession. The fewer emotional signals you leak, the harder you are to read, predict, or corner. This does not make you cold, but internally organized. Organized minds move deliberately, while scattered ones react loudly. Over time, People sense who cannot be rushed, persuaded, or destabilized through words alone. Respect forms quietly around those individuals, often without them demanding it. Power consolidates where awareness replaces habit. The language you remove is often more influential than the language you add. Pauses become statements when intention stands behind them. Every restrained response rewires your internal hierarchy. Toward self-command. Others feel this shift, even if they cannot articulate it. You are no longer negotiating your value sentence by sentence. Instead, you speak only when alignment is already established within yourself. Manipulators lose interest in those who offer no easy emotional access points. Conversations become cleaner, shorter, and more decisive. This discipline does not promise comfort, but it ensures clarity. Clarity removes the need for excessive explanation. With less noise, your words land heavier and linger longer. Influence accumulates slowly, built from consistency rather than performance. You stop proving and start positioning. Language becomes an extension of inner order instead of inner conflict. The world responds differently to those who no longer beg it to listen. Control returns not through dominance displays, but through disciplined absence of weakness. Silence, restraint, and precision form a quiet architecture of authority. This architecture cannot be borrowed, only built internally. Once established, it changes how every interaction unfolds without announcement. And nothing about this transformation is comfortable, but comfort was never where power lived.